Good afternoon, counselors, ladies, gentlemen, and fellow students. This afternoon, on behalf of our environmental problems class at St. Thomas University, we are here to request that the City of Fredericton introduce a bylaw which requires service stations to place warning labels on their gas pumps. We encourage the City of Fredericton to do this now, as the effects of climate change will only continue to become more catastrophic without efforts to stop it. In the past, Fredericton City Council has made numerous environmental initiatives, like setting the groundwork to be the first city to reach the Kyoto Protocol. We as citizens of this great city, this province, and this country wish to continue this tradition with this bylaw. This warning label was developed by Rob Cherokee, a Toronto lawyer who wanted to raise awareness about climate change and consumer responsibility about fossil fuels. 70% of the world's carbon dioxide emissions come from cities just like Fredericton, and emissions from vehicles operations are leading contributors to the greenhouse gas emissions. However, it is quite clear that federal and provincial governments have done little to stop the global warming crisis. We believe that it is the municipality's responsibility to be proactive about climate change. It is our municipalities that are and will continue to be on the front line of climate change policy. Scientists are confident that climate change has largely been caused by humans as a result of burning of fossil fuels. This use has increased carbon dioxide in the atmospheres, not seen since 2 to 3 million years ago. There is a planetary boundary of carbon dioxide concentration at 350 parts per million. We've already passed that boundary at 400 parts per million. To date, scientists have estimated that we have emitted approximately 1,000 gigatons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. There are enough reserves in the ground to emit another 2,795 gigatons to stay within a 2-degree target. 80% of those reserves must remain in the ground. We can only emit another 565 gigatons, about 15 years of fossil fuels at today's rate of consumption. In other words, if each gigaton was a can of paint, we can only use an additional 565 cans, and we need to keep the rest closed and stay within the planetary boundary. So far, climate change has caused 1/3 of the Arctic sea ice to disappear. The polar ice caps to diminish in size. The oceans become 30% more acidic, and wild species to change where they live. Scientists are suggesting that we have 15 years to get our act together in order to avoid irreversible climate change. James Hansen, arguably the planet's best climatologist, would argue that Hurricane Edward is an example of the grandeur of storms that we can anticipate as a result of climate change. He said that as a result of climate change, major weather events now affect 10% of the land area on the planet compared to less than 1% 50 years ago. Example of major weather events in New Brunswick include the record-breaking rainfalls in the Macadamic River Valley in December of 2011 and the St. Stephen area of July of 2013. Here in New Brunswick, Dr. Rick Kunjak has shown that rising water temperatures have had a negative impact on Atlantic salmon in the Miramichi River. Dr. Kunjak predicts that New Brunswick salmon may soon be forced to move out of New Brunswick to places like Labrador in search of colder waters. Heather Koopman, a professor at the University of North Carolina, has reported that the fecundity of female lobsters in the Bay of Fundy has dropped 10% every year between 2009 and 2013. She attributes this to warming ocean temperatures, which will have a negative impact on this industry. In short, the effects of global warming are already being felt despite an increase of less than 1 degree Celsius. With the continuous burning of fossil fuels and business as usual, scientists from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change are predicting that temperatures will rise from 3.7 degrees to 4.8 degrees, leading to what some scientists are calling catastrophic climate change.
Now that we've addressed the details about climate change that are happening in our world, you may be wondering how our proposed warning labels actually work against climate change. So, getting into the psychology of things, there are 3 main reasons why our warning labels are compelling. They build feedback, locate responsibility, and communicate externalities, which I will now briefly explain the process. There is a delay between the cause and effect of climate change. Rob Cherokee refers to this as a problem of no feedback. We are burning too many fossil fuels today, the cause, but we are not feeling the full effects of climate change until tomorrow, which is the no effect. So these labels counteract this issue by connecting the long-term consequences of climate change and putting them in the present focus of the consumer. Climate change can also be understood as something called a diffusion of responsibility. This is, according to social psychology, the idea that when problems are shared among many, we are less likely to act. This phenomenon can be counteracted by inviting individuals to take action. These labels target responsibility directly to individuals' palms by connecting them to the negative consequences of climate change. These labels help place the problem at the local level, instead of letting people continue to think it's someone else's responsibility to solve climate change. The last incentive is economic in origin, and is that climate change can be understood as a problem of negative externalities. So, for example, if we were going to fill up at the pump today, it might cost about $1.14 per liter. However, there are additional costs using fossil fuels that are not captured in this market price, like damage caused by extreme weather, maintenance of roads and highways, and the suffering caused by negative impacts on human health. These labels are a qualitative method of capturing and communicating externalities using image and text, rather than a qualitative method like a carbon tax. These labels are effective because they aim to touch people's hearts rather than their wallets. Since cigarette warning labels are so effective, there's already an audience that is primed to receive messages from warning labels. There's been explicit interest in this initiative in countries across the globe. Labels just like these have already had a positive impact on our world. In fact, in 2001, Canada was the first country to require warning labels on cigarette packages that outline the harmful consequences of smoking. A decade later, the idea has spread to over 60 countries and has had hundreds of studies conducted about its effectiveness. Across the board, these labels have been shown to help change both attitudes and behaviors about smoking. So the red are countries where warning labels about cigarette smoking have been implemented, and the blue are countries that have shown interest in these gasoline warning labels. Now, let's turn our attention to the costs associated with the implementation of such a bylaw. Labels would be displayed on things called nozzle toppers, which are a kind of rubber boot that fits over standard gas nozzles. They're equipped with a flat 3x3-inch display area for advertising and retail for approximately $15 each. A warning label sticker, if produced in bulk, would cost merely pennies. Hence, the cost of implementing our proposal is small, approximately $150 per service station, and could easily be covered by a fossil fuel retailer. This proposal is quite possibly one of the least expensive climate interventions on the planet. The cost of implementing and maintaining this idea globally is negligible in comparison to the billions of dollars in external costs that must now be covered by taxpayers. In light of this, it would appear to be fiscally imprudent not to pursue these warning labels. This proposed bylaw has the opportunity to significantly benefit the city of Fredericton. It will place the onus on residents of Fredericton to help their own community, and will communicate the message that we are all part of the problem in regards to climate change, but we can all contribute to be part of the solution. Fredericton would be known as the first city in Canada to launch this initiative, making us a front-runner in green, environmentally sustainable initiatives. This bylaw could help Fredericton save money on the road system, allowing the extra funds to be invested in infrastructure around the city, such as walking trails, local business, and the waterfront, amongst other things. This proposed bylaw would help advance the health, safety, and well-being of citizens, would improve our economic, social, and environmental well-being, and would protect our citizens from property damage caused by extreme weather. To conclude, our medium is a warning label on gas pumps, and our message is to spread awareness about climate change and the harmful effects of fossil fuel use. Just imagine if a successful initiative like this were to come come out of Fredericton, New Brunswick. Now is the perfect time to act, especially with renewed warnings from climate experts and the International Panel on Climate Change about impending catastrophic climate change. It is up to us to act on the positive change we wish to see in Fredericton, in New Brunswick,